What do you mean I don't have an internet connection? I'm literally streaming. Ah, yes. The magical I don't have an internet connection and I'm live right now. Shut up. Man. Firefox be like that lately on, YouTube be like that lately on Firefox and Firefox-based browsers. Okay, here we go. We love Charlie. Fucking Charlie.
You know what this is right here?
Those are fingers. Those are your spirit fingers.
Pal. I'm a tough guy. You feeling lucky? Yeah, that's right. Spirit fingers.
Ooh.
Do you know why? Because it's been about 30 hours since I last slept, and I've done 3 different intros, all of which crash and burned, and I am off my
What the fuck is this? What is this? Does he wear black shirts when he's sleepy? What is this? I thought we were wearing the same shirt today.
So now I'm going wacko mode. But, even in my sleep-deprived state, I am still lucid enough to recognize how cattywampus the AAA gaming space has become. Like, the gaming industry has so many things that I have bitched and moaned about. Probably the biggest practice that I've been most vocal about, not exactly shy on, is the topic of you will own nothing and be happy. The Ubisoft motto. God rest that company's soul. What a pile of dog shit.
Charlie always
But
wears
it's not
white
just
shirts.
Ubisoft.
Yeah, I
That
know,
has
right?
become a
What is this?
prevalent business strategy across the gaming industry. You will own nothing. You will be happy. You're basically... You come away with the idea...
Don't forget the mandatory fun. You can never forget the mandatory fun mechanics.
...of ownership of whatever games you purchase. I've worn this topic out more than a fleshlight in a frat house, but it is something I am very passionate about. The gaming industry is getting away with more and more garbage where they'll take a shit in your mouth and you're expected to thank them for adding some flavor to your taste buds. It's terrible. And there is an initiative that has been aiming to fight back against a lot of these practices
about that one.
I think really need some big overhaul. And it's an initiative that I think a lot of you are probably very familiar with. It's called Stop Killing.
I got a 1-second cameo in the Ross video he put out, which was very cool.
Killing games. And I've followed it since its inception. I've talked about it on stream quite a few times, though this is my first video going over it. And I regret that now because I see it wasn't going as well as I thought it was.
Yeah.
Admittedly, I didn't follow how successful the initiative was, only that it was aiming to do good for consumers.
I'm kind of in the same boat. I didn't realize how far away the goal still was. Like, I knew it was still I knew, like, it was going to be a difficult goal. I didn't know it was just... what is it? The EU vote's like 500k away or something like that?
And that it was taking proper steps legally to get there. And it was going through all of the right channels. And now today I watched a video from the guy that's spearheading this. His name is Ross. He posted a video called The End of Stop Killing Games where he's giving an update on where everything's at and how it's kind of at the finish line here with a lot of failure to show for it with only a few other chances to fight back. Now before getting into the weeds on the topic, I want to get this in the beginning because I imagine the vast majority of people won't watch the whole thing. I'm putting a link to the full video on Stop Killing Games as well as a link to where you'd go to help support the Stop Killing Games initiative because there's only a little bit of time left for the most important parts of it now.
Imagine the world we would be in if this actually did pass. Imagine how nice things would be if we're in a situation where these giant AAA studios actually had to take some accountability for shutting down game servers for games that do not need to be always online, right? Like, just... It would be nice. It would be. Combing the beard, I can do that. But alas, that is not the world we live in.
Now that it's at the end. So, if you know what the movement is and want to support it but didn't know where, the resources are in the description. Or if you want to get
How
it
is it
right
doing
from
right
like
now?
the source, I have a link to his video. But I want to go into it myself here because it is a topic that I do feel very strongly about. But for those that don't know anything about Stop Killing Games, I'm going to let him explain it in his own words, so that way you can get
It got a bit more. I think
correct...
it got like 20,000 more signatures since I last looked at it. But like, this is still so far away. And the initiative ends in 5 days. Oh, no, sorry. We're in June right now. A month and 5 days. I forgot what month we're in.
Correct, informed explanation of what the initiative is. And the reason I say it like that, kind of like fucking all, pinky out, snooty, is because a lot of people don't even really know what this is because of people like Pirate Software completely...
Yeah, okay. Okay, is he going to talk shit about Pirate as well? Wait, what?
Misrepresenting what the initiative was.
As a refresher, Stop Killing Games is a consumer movement to stop publishers from...
Yeah, no, we're in June right now. July is next month.
Effectively destroying video games they have already sold to customers.
Can I just say, I love how Ross framed... This is how the video was framed when he was on the podcast as well. It's just fucking the dead of... I don't know how he does this. It's just the dead of night every time anyone talks to him. Like, people can reach out to him any time of the day, and it's the same fucking time of day. I don't know what sort of fucking, like, chaos dimension this man lives in, but, like, his shot always looks identical.
Stop publishers from effectively destroying video games they have already sold to customers.
I'll pause right there. The simplest bare-bones birthday suit, butt-ass naked explanation for what this is.
Now, the nether would be brighter. Look at all the lava.
Destroying things that people have paid money to own. I think that is a very understandable, very reasonable
No, evil. Why would you do that?
Agreeable. Now, I want to quickly jump to a different spot in this video because I think it's important to have this
the 30 minutes.
It's something a lot of people
the 30 minutes ranting about Pirate
that comes from someone that is just wrong about it. It's the Pirate Software portion. Ross is addressing the video Pirate Software made many months ago.
We love Thor.
Ross even says that he didn't plan on doing that because he didn't want to be seen as using this for drama farming. Because
yeah, like when I had Ross on the podcast, I asked him beforehand if he was comfortable talking about the Pirate Software stuff. He was like, honestly, he was like, I don't even want to talk about Stop Killing Games anymore. He kind of wants to, like, he spent all this time on it, and he kind of wants to just go back to talking about video games. And I get it, right? Like, this has been an initiative for, what, a year or so now? And it's gonna have basically nothing coming positive out of it. I get why you kind of just want to, like, you want to move on with your life and accept that this has just completely failed.
It would start to make the movement look less of, like, a legitimate initiative and more of just, like, drama slop content type thing.
Yeah.
But he finally starts talking about Pirate Software here because it's at the end of the life cycle of this initiative and it's not looking promising, so he's willing to do anything to try and set the record straight and hopefully start getting more momentum back to the movement because the damage Pirate Software did to it through his video was substantial.
This video came out right as we were building momentum. Then, except for one boost in Germany, the signatures started drying up like clockwork. Thor does not understand
Pirate Software released a Twitter post very shortly after this came out, and then, like, roached out. He released the post, and then, like, people started giving him shit for it, and he was like, fuck, delete it.
Stop Killing Games is. Here it is in his words.
So for those who don't understand, the Stop Killing Games initiatives is basically we don't want single-player games to have DRM that the developers can turn off and thus render the single-player games inactive anymore. This is what they want to change. They need to be specific that they're talking about single-player games.
That's not... It's so... Like, how is he so dishonest about what the movement is? Like, honest question, right? Like, how is it that he is so dishonest about the movement? I don't... Like, I know people have said, oh, he's, like, industry plant, whatever, but, like... it's just never made sense to me. Like none of like the crazy conspiracy stuff. I don't know. Maybe there's something to that. If anyone has any thought, I would love to know. I would definitely love to know.
Games that do not need a server to support them.
No.
And as much as they want it to be about specifically games where it is a single-player game that has always online functionality, it would impact every live service game that exists. Instead of just targeting single-player, always online games.
No, that's not what it is. Stop Killing Games includes single-player games, but nothing about it is specific to them. He completely made that up, and I have no idea where he got that impression. It's the first
in his brain
line on the website. Stop Killing Games is a consumer movement started to challenge the legality of publishers destroying video games they have sold to customers. But the movement includes all this stuff from earlier, and he was mostly talking about the initiative.
He didn't even get the Cliff Notes summary right.
Didn't even
missed
spark
all
mode.
the QTEs and got the bad ending on understanding the initiative from the jump here. Ross is correct. This has nothing to do with just single-player only games that require an online connection, that when the online connection is severed, you lose access to the game.
That would be nice to solve as well, yes.
Included in all of this, but that's not like what the whole movement is about. And for some reason, Pirate Software is stun-locked on that, like fixated, as if that is the actual like meat and potatoes of Stop Killing Games. They need to be more specific in their language about it being single-player, always online connectivity games. When that's just not what it's about. Like, they're not being specific about that because that is not what they are specifically targeting. It is about the whole practice of destroying games that consumers have already purchased and having no end-of-life plans for games that are being sunset. So,
well, the end of life is we take your money and you never get anything back. That's the end of life plan.
The Crew. The Crew is an example everyone is going to reference and talk about.
What did I miss? You missed my games just not working. Not because of Stop Killing Games, but because of Linux and bullshit, and I don't know why things were broken. We'll find out. I'll reboot my system, it'll work.
Because Ubisoft is still currently in a lawsuit battling against it for what happened with this game. I've yapped about it quite a bit, so I'm not just going to regurgitate that. I'm sure a lot of you already know the story about it. But basically, you buy The Crew, Ubisoft pulls the plug on the servers, you can't play The Crew anymore, now it's just an old wet dream of what once was. And they are facing a lawsuit, and while this is in the umbrella of Stop Killing Games, it is not the only thing Stop Killing Games is referencing when it comes to this practice. Pirate Software is so hung up on it being single-player games that people lose access to, when that is a component of it, but not the entire focus.
Well,
Imagine how things would have changed if people did, like, if people like Charlie and Muda did make videos about this early on. Because I remember Lewis did make a video sort of going over Pirate's points. And it's kind of funny, right? Lewis is the only one that Pirate Software is kind of willing to, say, approach things rationally. Even though I would say Lewis is pretty in favor of the Stop Killing Games initiative.
The short version is the initiative is about requiring publishers to have end-of-life plans for games they've sold to customers in the future. So when they shut them down, customers can continue running them without their support. So that's one thing Thor doesn't understand, but he also seems to think this is about converting multiplayer games to single-player.
Transitioning an entire multiplayer.
Right, yeah, he was like, oh, well, how's an MMO gonna work as a single-player game? Like, that's not what that is.
Server-side game into a single-player video game, which means rebalancing the entire experience around.
Yeah, this whole, like, oh, well, they're gonna have to, like... No! That's not what this is!
Single player, rebuilding everything in the entire game. How are you going to do that with Final Fantasy XIV? You're just going to make all the raids soloable?
There's literally a private server for FF14. There's literally a private server for FF14. That's what people want. They want there to be the server that you can run yourself. That's basically it.
Imagine the day that World of Warcraft shuts down, and suddenly you have to make it a single-player game for every individual that ever bought the game.
Oh my
That's
God.
what they're asking for.
No.
because they would have to sunset live service games as a single-player experience. The idea that suddenly you need to make every single...
There's still a live OG WoW servers? Yeah.
live service game playable single-player
Well, OG
offline.
private servers? Yeah.
No, dude.
Correct. No.
This part is more confusing than Finnegan's Wake. Because no way...
Man, half the time, I don't fucking understand a word that Charlie's saying. I don't know what these metaphors are.
in anything on Stop Killing Games has this even been like a talking point from anyone besides Pirate Software. I don't know where he pieced this puzzle together. Like
in his brain.
I don't get it. Like, if I'm gonna try and like really reach here and give like a charitable explanation for this take, maybe he's extrapolating based on the idea that if publishers have to have end-of-life plans for their games, that includes MMOs, where once the game is getting sunset, you're pulling the plug on it, you would then need to turn the game over to the community in a playable state, an accessible state, like give the code to them. Thus, it'd turn it into a single-player experience, so the onus would be on the developers to rebalance their game to be a single-player experience.
Yeah, I don't know where I don't know where the rebalance thing came from. Like, I can understand saying, oh, releasing the server software might be hard, but what are you talking about rebalancing?
I guess. I have no idea. That still just doesn't make any sense, but maybe that's the tree he's barking up with that thought process. I really don't know, because Stop Killing Games at no point ever says any of these multiplayer games need to be converted to single player. That really is outlandish. And the more I think about it, like, the more nonsensical it becomes, because even in Pirate Software's hypothetical fanfic there, why would the developers need to rebalance the game? They would just turn over the code to the community and just be in that state. They're no longer responsible for balancing the game. That's the whole point. They're not indefinitely supporting it. They would just be responsible of leaving the game in an accessible state to the community while they would shut down the servers on their end. Like, they wouldn't need to go back through with a whole development team and, like, you know, tweak the game to be single-player compatible. Like, it just doesn't make sense. Like, I really do not understand that one. But apparently a lot of people latched onto that talking point from Pirate Software as something that Stop Killing Games was asking for, and how unreasonable it was. Which...
Finnegan's Wake is a novel... Do we have, like, a 30-second delay? Or are you just responding, like, way late? Finnegan's Wake is a novel by Irish novel James Joyce in 1939. It's infamous for being difficult to read. I see. Wait, okay, are people just taking forever to respond to something I said? Or is there, like, a minute delay?
If that's what Stop Killing Games was asking for, it would be unreasonable. But that's not what it's asking for.
No, I just suck at typing. Okay, cool. Cool, just had to be sure.
In there, does it say that it's directly targeting always online single-player games?
Oh, he's so close. He's so close to getting it.
He would never get it.
It's vague, and because of that, it will impact him.
He never has that light bulb moment.
No, it's okay. Yeah, there's not a crazy delay. It's just people respond to something that was said way long ago.
Well, he is correct in that statement. It's almost as if that's not what the initiative is asking for.
I know this part is once again just reinforcing that he doesn't know what the Stop Killing Games movement is about, but I have to just show you this because it is so fascinating, because he himself literally calls out that Stop Killing Games at no point explicitly mentions single-player always-online games or anything like that. And for some reason, instead of following the breadcrumbs that would naturally lead him to the conclusion of, oh, maybe I misunderstood.
I think he entered the initiative with, like, a preconceived notion of what it is, and then tried to justify why the initiative is not meeting his preconceived notion. But, like, that wasn't the goal of the initiative from the start. Like, he had an idea about what it was before he knew what it was, and then just tries to justify why everything doesn't align with the misunderstanding he had from the beginning. I think Thor doesn't know how to read.
Maybe because it's absent here, that's not what this is actually about. Instead, he uses it as a criticism against the Stop Killing Games initiative entirely, saying it's just too vague, it's way too vague. The reason it is not explicitly stated there is because that is not what the whole initiative is about. It is not specifically targeting that thing that you keep saying that it is. I don't know how that never clicked.
We're in, like, peak reactception right now. We are reacting to Charlie, reacting to Ross, reacting to Thor.
But those were his streams with a smaller audience. What does he say in his big YouTube video with over 1 million views that he had time to research?
If we're trying to kill off the practice of developers putting together a live service game, pitching it as a single-player experience, and then taking away support in the future...
now he's changed it again and is making up how it's about single-player
And
games
we're
are
reacting to you doing that.
What is he doing?
It needs to be specific.
Here's my hot take. Every video on YouTube is a react video. Because if I'm reacting to a video game, or I'm reacting to a GitHub issue thread or a GitLab issue thread, or I'm reacting to an article, every single video on YouTube is a react video. There you go. If I'm building a table, I'm reacting to the tools.
About the business practice it's trying to defeat, which is specifically companies that are doing this under the guise of it being a single-player game, but adding online-only functionality that is not necessary.
Let me hear that again.
What is he?
And then develop
Search.
If we're trying to kill off the practice of developers putting together a live service game, pitching it as a single-player experience, and then taking away support in the future...
now he's changed it again and is making up how it's about single-player games are advertised. What is he doing?
It needs to be specific about the business practice it's trying to defeat, which is specifically companies that are doing this under the guise of it being a single-player game, but adding online-only functionality that is not...
Again, it's specifically about this. He says, as it's not specifically about that.
Necessary, and doesn't add any gameplay elements. That's the problem.
No, that's not it at all.
This is a really strong section from Ross here because...
Ross is very rough at doing React content, though. I will say he's, like, very, like, you know, I sometimes pre-watch videos on the main channel, but, like, when Ross does it, it's, like, really obvious that he's like, pre-watched it.
The clips that you saw moments ago were from his stream. When he took more time to watch it and digest it, he still came back in that video
packaging. Yeah, for sure.
misrepresenting it. Like, it never dawned on him. Like, on stream, he could write it off as like, oh, he didn't grasp it in the moment.
Sure.
Maybe later on he did. Well, then he made the video where he still was talking about things that are just not what Stop Killing Games was about. And this was the one that really
Wait, does Charlie have a CRT back there?
And really started to...
Is that like a CRT TV? Sorry, I got distracted. I've never noticed that before. Like, I think the display is curved. I think that is a CRT. That's cool. Well, yeah, there's like a GameCube there, so I would imagine maybe, like, the GameCube's hooked up to that, and he plays it on, like, a time... what do you call it? Like a yeah, it's a retro setup with a GameCube. Yeah, thought so. Okay, that's cool.
To kind of dismantle the Stop Killing Games momentum.
If we don't like the idea of live service games as a whole, I get it. Don't play
Today
live
we're
service games.
period accurate. That's what I was thinking. Thank you. I was thinking like time accurate, time something. Period accurate's the right word. Yeah.
To those terms.
No, he's getting a new thing wrong now. We're not against that.
We don't like the idea of live service games as a whole. I get it. Don't play live service games then. Don't agree to those terms.
Well, I don't like live service games generally, but that's not what Stop Killing Games is about.
No, he's getting a new thing wrong now. We're not against them existing. We're against them being destroyed with no recourse for the customer.
Pirate Software then goes on to talk
Honestly, I wish that Thor and Ross fucking sat down and just talked to each other. I don't know, like, I don't think Thor is necessarily a bad person, but the fact that he just doesn't want to sit down with Ross and understand the position. Like, he wanted to just ignore it because Ross got angry in the video or something. Like, just sit down with him.
Like the business practice.
Yeah, here's the thing. It doesn't even have to be recorded. Do an offline conversation. Like, it doesn't have to be a live stream. It doesn't have to be a debate. Just talk to each other in a fucking Discord call.
Of misleading consumers into thinking that what they're buying is a product as opposed to a license to a product, which is a totally separate thing. And then he criticizes Stop Killing Games for not being specific about that thing that he is bringing up, as opposed to what Stop Killing Games is talking about. So he's using that against them for some reason. And then Ross goes into, like, the license talk.
Our problem is not with licenses failing to inform people. Blizzard says they can take away your purchase for no reason. That sounds pretty clear to me. Our problem is those terms are so hostile to consumers and the medium that they should be taken off the table entirely.
Sure.
This needs regulation. Forget video games. If you look at basic commerce for hundreds of years, when you paid money, you either got to keep what you paid for, or if it was a service, you were told when your access ends. The vast majority of online-only games do neither of those.
He's exactly right.
Well, yeah, this is part of the it's a bit different, but it's kind of part of the reason why Valve implemented the change to season passes, where games can't sell season passes anymore and not tell you what you're going to get. Because for a long time, you would buy a season pass and you might get one DLC pack, you might get 20 DLC packs, there's no indication. Now on Steam, they have to tell you the minimum set of minimum set of things that it's going to include. So if that's going to be map packs, it's going to be items, things like that. They don't have to be specific about, like, you know, you're going to get the great sword of the fucking whatever it's called. But they do have to, like, tell you what's included now. And it's like the same thing here. You don't, with like a live service game, they never have to have any indication of when the game's going to shut down. Great example, Concord. How long did that game last? Was it like 3 days? How long did it take them to shut down the Concord servers? You will learn nothing and you will be happy. You will be happy. And you will eat the bugs. Hey, by the way, you don't own this game. You just purchased an indefinite access to it. I think, no, an indefined access, I think, is a better way to say it.
That is a huge problem. Now, Pirate Software is correct here about these companies that will mislead consumers through this fraudulent advertising on what you're actually buying, because in a lot of cases, you don't own any of the shit that you are buying. It is pretty much a rental. You get a permission slip to access the content that is in actual agreements, as Ross demonstrates with Blizzard, where it says they can just completely terminate it for no reason at all.
Blizzard is a very funny example to bring up in the case of Thor. I'm almost certain he did that on purpose. Like, there's so many companies you can choose, and you're talking about Thor and you bring up Blizzard, right? Like, obviously that's on purpose.
It does go against the basic idea of commerce entirely. Video games are in a totally different ball game when it comes to that, because half the time you don't realize that you're just buying an admission ticket to a game. You're not actually buying the game.
Nope.
You also don't know how long that's going to last.
Now, if you want to be technically accurate, you actually never were buying a game. So, I don't know if this is the case in every country, but in Australia, if you go look at the bottom of a PS2 game, like, in, like, very tiny text at the bottom of the case, it will tell you that resale is actually not allowed. So, technically, you've never actually been buying games, because you can't sell it. Now, no one cared, and there were resale markets anyway. It was never enforced. But technically, that was the case.
Again, to go back to Concord, that shit lasted less than a fucking, fucking rainstorm basically.
Basically.
Like, there is just so many problems. So I don't know why Pirate Software would be so harsh on Stop Killing Games for not addressing specific things that he himself is bringing up or making up in regards to it. It just doesn't compute. It really is a video that did significant damage to an actually positive initiative that aimed to help consumers in the video game space. All based on his complete misrepresentation of it, which was a complete mess.
If you try to tell me that every studio needs to run their live service game indefinitely or not want to run
Oh my god, it's this line. I forgot about this line.
one at all, then no one's going to run them.
Oh no! He wheeled out that line about publishers having to support the game forever. He was literally watching the video earlier where it says it won't do that in big letters. That wasn't enough. We just can't stop gamers from going there, even when we spell it out.
That's the last clip I
Gamers
want to show
can't
from
read.
this section on the Pirate Software video, but it's a very important one because this is something a lot of people also think the Stop Killing Games initiative is about, where developers, publishers will have to support their games forever. Like, until the fucking heat death of the universe, they'll have to support these games under the initiative. When that is not the case. It is very simply asking that when the game has reached the end of its life cycle, the publishers, developers don't want to...
And then there are games like FF11, where the game actually is still being supported, and no one fucking... Who's playing FF11? Like, honest question. But, like, Square Enix... There's private servers, but Square Enix still has, like, official servers for it. Chris Titus? Yeah, he probably played it back on the fucking PS2. He probably played it when it first came out. To be fair, gamers... No, I've never heard Titus play about... I never heard about Titus playing 11. To be fair, gamers don't like to read, so not having the ability to isn't a problem for them. Fair. On the podcast, I don't remember. Well, when I had Titus on, I wasn't playing 14 at the time, so I probably wouldn't have asked him about it. I didn't even know there were... honestly, I think when I had Titus on the show, I didn't even know 11 existed. Did he? Maybe I just don't remember then. I honestly... When did I have Titus on? It was a long time ago. If he did tell me, then I'm just forgetting it, but I literally don't remember. He 100% told you. I literally don't remember. I don't remember. Why does everybody else remember my podcast conversations more than I do? I was talking to someone yesterday, or a couple of days ago. He referenced a thing I said about him, and it was like 2 years ago I said it. I don't fucking remember. Invite him again, talk about Neri. I've already made some commitments to bring people on before that. I want to bring on a developer from ReactOS, and I want to bring on another VTuber I found. To be fair, a VTuber that Kylo found who is a NixOS user, also does mechanic streams, like working on their Miata, which is cool.
Work on it any longer, to turn it over to the community to still be in a playable, accessible state so the product can still exist. There is some more nuance, obviously, to how that works.
But yes, I do need to bring Titus back on. I agree.
Licensing and a lot of like the code, the binary, that kind of thing. There is a lot at play under the hood there, of course, but it is something that
another NixOS zombie. To be fair, this is someone who's very new to Linux, so I think we'll mainly talk about like Linux in general as opposed to NixOS itself. I do want to know why they're on NixOS though.
And it is something that is talked about, but I'm not going to dive too deep into it. I encourage you to check more in on it. But this whole belief that it is about endlessly supporting a live service game, even when it makes no sense to do so and it's beyond dead and in the dirt, is ridiculous, because that is not what it is asking for. And a lot of people think that it is. It's not. Pirate Software got that wrong as well. Anyway, I'll stop yapping about it, but as mentioned in the beginning, most of Stop Killing Games hasn't been...
Sorry, this is a bit of a side tangent. I've noticed it throughout the video. Are these hand tattoos that Charlie has relatively new? Because I don't remember them last time I watched a Charlie video, but I could be misremembering. The rarest guest definitely being the LFS main. We did have one person. There was one. They do exist. They're just very rare.
Successful in getting change. And Ross has dedicated so much of his life to this, and it's clearly taken a big toll. Now he's doing everything he can for this last ditch push to try and help. And there are
Didn't have two? Maybe there was
coming
two.
Up that can do so. And
there's one person that I do remember for a fact who was like also an LFS dev. I feel like it's just Zekma. I don't remember another person. That's the one that's coming to mind, but there may be someone else.
What I linked at the very beginning of the at the very beginning of the video about the resources in the description. It's in regards to this.
One is for the UK to sign a government petition to bring this issue before Parliament.
That one's doing even worse than the EU
Keeping it
one.
real, I'm not terribly optimistic about this one, since the government response has been a mess by every definition.
Yeah, I've seen other petitions that go to government response, and it's just like, we will consider it. And that's the end of the response.
But the one that has a lot of power, so much so I think it could change the course of gaming history, is the European Citizens Initiative. Now, I said I'm approaching this like a time traveler because with the trajectory we're on, these are both going to fail. Again, this one is crazy powerful, but the hurdle we just couldn't get past...
Tattoos aren't new, but I think he got them touched up as they don't look as faded. Okay.
...was that it requires 1 million signatures from citizens of EU countries.
It's at 518 right now.
We've only made it just under halfway. What a lot of people don't realize is that in the EU especially, it's almost a state of lawlessness regarding the practice of game destruction. Is that the vast majority of games with an online requirement say they can be terminated at any time for any reason. Or Blizzard likes to say any or no reason. But
I like no
according
reason.
to the EU Commission, that might be a violation of Directive 93/13 EEC, which protects consumers against unfair terms and consumer contracts. So if that term is unfair, that means that part of the contract is null and void.
He goes on to explain how powerful that can be because of what
Honestly, here's the thing that I think would happen if it did pass. I don't actually have hope. It would be awesome if this got to the EU, but here's what I genuinely think would happen. I think what they would do is require these companies to give a time frame on killing the game. So they couldn't just shut it down for no reason. They would have to say, okay, we are shutting the game down within X number of months, and good luck. Enjoy the rest of your life. Like, I think that's about as far as it realistically could get. Like, as much as I would like to see an actual real change, realistically, that's where I do think this would get to.
Mess that is. Because there is so much gray area with how the video games currently operate in regards to those protections, it would be a legal headache that would require an analysis of the laws or implementation of new laws that could lead to, hopefully, an improvement when it comes to gaming. So the big hurdle was the signatures, needing 1 million, and currently it's at like 460,000, so it doesn't...
Oh, it's gone up by like 60,000.
I've been very vocal from the very beginning about how little faith I have in petitions, but that's just from the perspective of an American. In America, petitions are more...
A government petition is very different from like a what do you call it? Not a fucking straw poll, like a What's the big petition website? Change.org. Sorry, for some reason my brain was thinking GoFundMe, and it was merging Change and GoFundMe. I was like, Go Change is definitely not right. Brodie, my hands are full.
Paper. You're better off just writing what you want on a note to Santa Claus and shipping it to the North Pole than you are doing anything with a petition in this country. I don't know how different it is in the EU. Maybe it really is this powerful there that could lead to
Go Change Me, exactly.
And improvement when it comes to games and preservation and all of what we've already talked about. Hopefully, I mean, that's really all that's left for the Stop Killing Games initiative, which sucks, but that's the position that it's in, unfortunately. And I wanted to talk about it because I really want to see something change with the games industry.
I would like to as well.
I've said that so many times recently, but it's in such a sorry state. I mean, I'm talking big budget AAA space. Indies, I think, are absolutely crushing it. Absolutely golden right now in the golden age of indie games. But
absolutely,
overall, in the big budget games and the way the industry keeps pushing things, it sucks.
Change me mind.
So, I wanted to talk about Stop Killing Games here. Hopefully, things can turn around and maybe a huge W around the corner for the Stop Killing Games initiative. We'll see, but anyway,
something.
I want to commend Ross for his hard work spearheading all of this for so long. And that's really about it. See ya.
Well, you know, as much as I would like this to go somewhere, at this stage, I have zero hope. What is this? No, you don't want to move to Japan. Oh God. There was also a follow-up for this one as well that I wanted to check out. Oh my God, he's still wearing a black shirt. What the fuck? Is FromSoft a publicly traded company? Doesn't Tencent own part of FromSoft? I don't know if they're publicly traded, but they're definitely owned by some other company. You got credits, Brodie. What the fuck did I get credits for? What? I've never heard of this project. Just give me 1 second. It's a Weeb project. I just need to double check. Okay, cool. What is this? Introducing Nekumi OS, the VTuber. Oh, what? Oh, it's just dot files. Okay, right. I was very confused for a second. I was like, wait, there's no way someone actually went and made a distro. No, it's just dot files to make this convenient. And of course, my comp professor, Do you have a video on this? As seen on YouTube, click photo for video. What is this? 10 minutes. Oh, it's like 10 months ago. What? Wait, how did... Anyway. I might come back to this one. In a minute. His latest video has me in it. Okay, fine. We'll check out the channel in a bit. Okay, let's just watch the follow-up to Pirate Software, and then we'll do that. So, this is about the reply that Pirate Software made to Charlie's video.
I have no doubt most of you have noticed over the last 10 or 11 months I've been a lot happier. Glowing, really, radiant.
I don't know if this is a joke, because I have never seen a man with less emotion in his videos.
You can tell probably just from my voice alone and this striking smile. So what is the secret to this newfound happiness of mine?
Man, I don't know how Charlie's brain works, but he is just a clip farmer, isn't he?
Smile. So what is the secret to this newfound happiness of mine? The one trick doctors don't want you to know? I haven't been online as much. I've been going outside far more frequently, spending time in the real world. And as such, I'm sure many of you have noticed over the last 10 or 11 months, internet drama.
Wait, is that why he's wearing the black shirt? Did he evolve from the white shirts? Is black shirt Charlie like Charlie turning into a normie?
A huge focal point of the channel because I haven't seen a whole bunch of it. I haven't kept up with the vast majority of it. And of course, occasionally I've still dipped my tootsies in some of it, like if there's something particularly wacky going on, and I still cover like news and crazy shit going on with aliens and all of that kind of thing, or if there's like a really cringe, prankster that got arrested or something, I'll still talk about that. But
I saw a video the other day of there was this TikTok trend going around where people were going up to doors and like full on fucking like jumping in the air and just like bashing both their feet into it. They were like trying to kick people's doors in. One of the... Was it one? There was a group of 3 teenagers who did this. One of them was shot and killed. One of them was shot and just injured. And the other guy got away. This happened in... I don't remember which US state it was. I want to say it was like Texas or somewhere like that. Like, this guy thought he was getting, like, his house broken into, and he just unloaded on them.
It's not like a fixation for me like it used to be over the last few years, where I was covering any and all internet creator space hoopla. And I want to keep it that way. I'm having a lot more fun not doing that.
Look, to be fair, as much as we can talk about US moment for a lot of things, I will say that being able to defend your property from somebody trying to break in, that is, like, in Australia, yeah, property defense is not really a thing. Stand your ground doesn't really exist in my country. If somebody breaks in, you kind of just have to let them do it.
That being said, there is something that has unfolded here that's like the John Wick killing the dog moment that's bringing me back, just very temporarily. And it's pirate software. Yesterday I talked about Stop Killing Games, and there's no way to talk about Stop Killing Games without also mentioning pirate software because of the profound effect he has had on that initiative in its demise. I say demise, but it's not actually fully cooked.
Make sure you bring some water. Lots of water.
Support. And pirate software did play a big role in that because of 2 videos he made, as well as a stream, shitting.
What do you think is going to stick longer with pirate software? Roaching out in a WoW hardcore raid, or Stop Killing Games? Which do you think people are going to bring up more and longer? Because people still talk about him roaching out in a fucking hardcore WoW raid. And it doesn't matter, right? Like, it's... The hardcore WoW thing is so fucking stupid. And here's the thing. He was right. Him roaching out in the WoW raid was the right thing to do. And do you want to know what's funny? Half the people who called him out for roaching out in that WoW raid, like 3 months later, did the exact same thing.
All over it. And that's not even doing it justice. He was full-blown tooting on this. He was shitting on it with some fart on top. And a lot of what he was saying about Stop Killing Games wasn't accurate. It was a misrepresentation of the initiative. And the guy behind it, the guy spearheading it, Ross, finally set the record straight on a lot of the misconceptions that pirate software helped to put out there and kind of exacerbate these thought processes that just weren't accurate for what the initiative was actually aiming to do. He finally set the record straight. And I, of course, wanted to talk about it as someone who does actually care about it. Sure. Now, as I've said, I've been a little more off the grid. I bought a fucking farm, so I've been, living off the Lord's land recently, and I've missed a lot of the...
Are we going to start seeing some forest videos?
So, Pirate Software's previous anime arcs of drama, like with World of Warcraft and...
I think fucking Charlie, it's the first thing he brings up. The fucking WoW stuff doesn't matter. It's just stupid streamer drama. I fucking love that this has stuck with him for so long. Oh yeah, there was also the Ashes of Creation thing where he was trying to like bully smaller guilds and they just fucking wiped the floor with him. Like, I think the guild was half his size, and they just annihilated him. And then, like, he was like, oh, if you're in this guild, we're gonna hunt you down. And then the guild that was being bullied, they just, like, fucking took everyone out and did the same thing back to them. How popular was Pirate Software? I know it's popular among programmers and game devs, but compared to Charlie, I don't actually know. I think everyone kind of knows the name Pirate Software, but most people also know the name, like know about Charlie as well. So it's kind of hard to say. Like, Charlie's been around for so much longer. If you go back in like the early days of his channel, he has like fucking Halo 3 montage videos. Like, Charlie's been here forever.
one after that, and the one after that, and the one after that, and the one after that. I didn't pay a whole lot of attention to. I only got little tiddlywinks, little morsels of lore about it in a few clips, so I never really even understood what was going on there. So Pirate Software's response to everything that happened yesterday really caught me by surprise. That was a subversion of my expectations, bigger than Game of Thrones Season 8.
Yeah, Hutcher, I did. I think it's really hilarious to me that that entire community is so butt mad at me for putting out a video 10 months ago about their stuff.
And then talking on your stream like every other day about it.
And then not being refuted, and now it's my fault that everything is going wrong for them.
I cannot believe his ego. His ego is so out of...
I can't believe... I know he's saying this for a joke, but I can't believe his ego in the same sentence as Pirate Software. Those are two phrases that don't go together.
Control. I feel like he's only a week or two away from exclusively referring to himself in third person, like Stone Cold fucking Steve Austin. And that's the truth, because Pirate Software said so. Some shit like that. It's crazy how he's responded. The smugness is nails on a chalkboard. It just makes you feel icky listening to it. And he goes on.
I heard his game was review bombed on Steam. I'm not surprised.
Same talking point multiple times in the clip about how, like, oh, I guess I'm fully to blame. I guess because I made those videos 10 months ago, it's my fault entirely that this whole thing crashed and burned. Yep. Oh boy. Time to play a sad song on the world's smallest violin for the Stop Killing Games movement, all because Big Bad Pirate Software took it all down by himself. Like, it's crazy. No one's saying that. Like, there is no one out there that is saying it is entirely Pirate Software's fault that Stop Killing Games has...
He did shit on a small dev team because he got mad at a Roach joke. Oh, yeah, there was the, wasn't it like a game about streamers or something? I feel like that's what the game was. Like, there was a... I don't remember what the actual game was, but there was, like, Asmongold in it. There was, like, XQC. Yeah. And, like, everyone was kind of like a caricature. So, you know, Asmon, his, like... It was, like, you know, covered in roaches and all that stuff. Really dirty room. XQC was basically L if L did meth. And then Pirate Software...
In 2 videos and across all your streams, and not once have you bothered to correct that record. And he has said that it hasn't been refuted in 10 months. That is fish paste. That is turbo horseradish. Go to your own comment section on your videos to see everyone refuting you, as well as the innumerable other gamers and voices out there that have taken down those talking points and debunked a lot of them and proven that you just didn't understand it. And that is the big problem. No one hates Pirate Software because he doesn't agree with Stop Killing Games. The reason so many people are angry at him, myself included here, you can disagree with the movement all you want. If you don't like the initiative, I'm not your fucking dad. You make your own choices there. But the reason so many people, myself included, do not like how Pirate Software is handling all this is he is outright refusing to just admit any level of fault, that he was wrong about anything.
Imagine a team formed by Garbage Man, Meth L, and God. What would you call that? What would the name be?
And that couldn't be more clear from these clips, as well as his tweets that he's made. It's actually his tweets that really sent me off the fucking rails here, off my gourd. Let's start with
the one
this
that he deleted
here that he deleted from last night. So he tweeted directly at Ross, the guy behind Stop Killing Games, talking about how he made those videos 10 months ago, and since then, his community has been nothing but hateful. A scourge, a fucking tyrannid threat that he must destroy. Your community is fucking rabid, and it's shit to deal with for anyone on the other side of the argument. Why do you think I haven't talked about this shit in 10 months? Why do you think we
haven't? What do you mean you haven't? You've brought it up a bunch of times.
Auto-mute anyone bringing it up in chat, because it's been rage bait and shit-flinging the entire time. And just goes on about, like, how he is the victim of Ross's toxic, terrible community, which is hilariously hypocritical coming from Pirate Software, when in his videos and his streams, he makes it very clear and is very rude about how much he dislikes not only Ross, but the movement. And it's not like he's being very professional and
Again, I don't know why he I don't know why he won't even, like, talk to Ross, right? Like, that... This is something I really fucking hate on the internet. People wanting to... Like, they want to shit on people, and they don't want to talk to them. Like, it's one... Like, here's the thing, right? Like... great example. I shit on a lot of GNOME people, right? Like, this is no secret whatsoever that I have made many of videos about GNOME people and their hyper toxic culture that they don't want to acknowledge. But at the same time, if a GNOME person comes to me and says, "Hey, I want to talk to you," I'm happy to talk to them. They don't want to fucking talk to me. Yeah, the founder of Manjaro. I think we might have been working on something, and then like either it fell through or something happened. I don't remember the exact details, but yeah, I was more than happy to bring Philip on. But like, yeah, like we're like. I've actually got a video coming out like in a couple of days about exactly this, with another example of a GNOME person. It's not another GNOME person; it's the same person who's always ruining everything within Wayland discussions. But like, if any of these people from GNOME want to talk to me, I know you've talked shit about me in public. I don't care. If you want to talk and you want to like sort things out, let's go. Let's talk. It doesn't even have to be on the record. I'm more than happy to talk to people. I just don't understand why people want to just say, "I hate this person. I never want to talk to them." Like it doesn't make any sense to me. Like, you realize I've had so many people on where I disagree on some points they have, and you realize very quickly that most things you agree with, right? Like, great. Like, you know what? Here's a good example. Even if, like, let's take some random person from GNOME. Even if we disagree on everything regarding how Foundation should be run or how people act within the GNOME project that are by far the most toxic community in the entire FOSS community, no doubt whatsoever. Even then, you know, there's going to be things we agree on. Like, I don't know, fried chicken. Does anyone think fried chicken is bad? Okay, maybe if you're a vegan. Does anyone, is there anyone that dislikes, you know, going bowling or, you know, just basic shit like this? I find it important. Is this the Trafton video? It is, isn't it? I'm almost certain it's going to be that one. Yes, it is. Yeah. Anyway, moving on with the video.
No, listen to it.
So this was my first encounter of him.
Oh shit, now this is actually really dumb. It's used car salesman garbage. This is shit.
Oh my god.
It's shit. Not only do I not want to back this, I'm going to actively tell people not to. That is awful. That is a horrible goddamn direction. That's awful, dude. No, eat my entire ass. The level of stupid that I just had to receive was like sitting on Twitter for 12 hours. This shit sucks. That's a really stupid ass move. That's
Brodie the troll of GNOME. That's the thing, right? I'm not even like I'm not even trolling GNOME. I just have to say the things they're like the things they're saying. Would you say GNOME community is more toxic than Hyperlink? Hyperlink community is really chill. Like maybe early on they were kind of rough, but like nowadays like there's go hang out in their issue trackers or hang out in their Discord. Like everyone there's pretty chill. Do any people like objectively good and fun things? That was a one-time thing. That happened like 2 years ago. Yeah, early on they were being stupid. They've like that's all been dealt with. Yeah, do any people like does anyone like fun? I'm still mad that you didn't read the PowerPoint in the slide. In the video. Yeah, imagine that. The FOSS community has been historically toxic, starting from Torvalds up until now. I think the difference with Torvalds is people respect Torvalds. That's like the big difference, right? Like, Torvalds might say some crazy shit, but you read what he's saying and he's like, yeah, I agree with you. Yes. It's just like, yeah, you like when Torvalds goes on a rant, it's usually for a fairly justified reason. It's like, this is Like, you're either trying to brigade the Linux kernel mailing list, or you've introduced a bug for no reason, or you're not following procedure. It's very rare nowadays for Torvalds to go on a rant that's just like an unfounded rant. Now, maybe there's definitely stuff in the early days, right? Like, if you want a great example, go have a look at Torvalds and Tannenbaum arguing. That's a great example. Because Torvalds was like a 22-year-old college kid arguing with a tenured professor about operating system design. And he was like, I know everything. I am a 22-year-old college kid arguing with a fucking tenured OS professor about how to correctly design an operating system. Yo, Richie, how's it going? Torvald's motto now is, I have no enemies.
I think this is ass. This is complete garbage.
When Torvalds cooked you in 2025, it's usually for good reason. Yeah, usually. There might be exceptions, but usually.
All of this can eat shit, then. I dropped the mask entirely. I have no qualms.
What do you mean? You never had the mask on to begin with?
Yeah. They can eat my entire ass. The whole thing. That sounds stupid as shit.
Yeah, I'm sure it's Ross and his community that are actually the assholes here. Brother, come on, you can't possibly be calling the wambulance with a side of french fries here about people being mean to you when you are literally the one that started the shit-flinging and name-calling. And by the way, Ross...
this is the follow-up to the Stop Killing Games video. So... we already watched the first one where Charlie was talking about Stop Killing Games. This is the response to Pirate Software's response.
Never even addressed this for 10 months because he didn't want to dilute the initiative into just having it be boiled down to drama between creators, which I think was actually very big of him. The only reason he's talking about it now is because it's at the end of its life and so many people still don't understand it because of...
I recently opened the forums for a FOSS project called Tiny RSS and found horrible shit. Found the main dev telling people you need at least 2 to IQ to contribute to the project. You're too stupid to be in our community. To someone who was asking a very normal question. Oh, I'm sure there are definitely like little niche communities here and there which are like super rough. But like if you want to oh, my chat disconnected for some reason. That's weird. It's something that isn't even or anything. That isn't even. What a great sentence. That Tannenbaum debate is so surreal. Imagine arguing with the professor who wrote your fucking textbook. Yeah, that's what it was.
Someone like Pirate Software misrepresenting it. So he's finally setting the record straight there. Anyway, he did delete that tweet, but just a little while ago, he made a new tweet, a very long tweet, as well as a series of tweets under it in regards to this whole thing.
God, why did Twitter remove the fucking character limit for people that have Twitter Blue? Holy shit. Why are twit-longers built into the platform now?
And in all these words, all this mumbo-jumbo, not once does he say he was wrong about anything. In fact, he just continues to double down, even proudly stating he is doubling down. Wow, how incredibly noble, doubling down on things you are provably, blatantly wrong about. We don't need to hit the Jumbotron for the replay on yesterday's video going over so many of the things that he was incorrect about in regards to the initiative. But the point is, that is an issue that I really thought that he would address. Be like, hey, yeah, I did get this part wrong. You're right, guys. Sorry about that. I didn't mean to misrepresent it. I still don't fully agree with it, but I do recognize that I had some errors here in my coverage. That's what I was expecting. That is not what we got.
Well, congratulations on
prompted me to
meeting
reach
some
out
people
directly to him, to talk to him, to see, like, why isn't he acknowledging that? Is there a reason? Like, what is going on there? So I did. He made it very clear he was not very happy with my coverage of Stop Killing Games, which is fine. I think that's totally fine. I'm not going to leak DMs or really go in depth on our private conversation, but the point of me reaching out to him was to talk about his refusal to acknowledge that he did, maybe unintentionally, misrepresent Stop Killing Games.
Unintentionally. Unintentional. I don't think it's unintentional anymore.
And it led to a just shy of 2 hours, like, circular argument that ultimately got us nowhere. He was more focused on his qualms with Stop Killing Games and really liked to challenge me to prove him wrong about some of his hang-ups with it. And when I would mention, like, the behavior aspect, like, hey, you did misrepresent it, and I'd give him a timestamp, he'd then instead say how I'm wrong for thinking that he misrepresented it. We got nowhere. So I want to just...
He acts exactly the same way in DMs. That's great. Like, I've spoken to people where public and DMs, they act like entirely different people. One thing I will say is I can respect Pirate Software for just being an arsehole. Like, he's consistently an asshole. There's no, like, oh, he's playing, like, he's just, like, trying to, like, cozy up with people in some cases and then, like, not in others. No, he's just an asshole.
Publicly say this
At least
again.
you know what you're getting into.
There are plenty of things you can disagree with when it comes to the Stop Killing Games initiative. I'll put links to it if you want to learn more about it, and you can form your own opinions on it if you want to support it. If you don't like it, that's fine. That's super normal. And I didn't reach out to try and champion that Pirate Software should become, a huge ambassador of Stop Killing Games, out there on the fucking front lines fighting for it. It had nothing to do with that. It was simply about the misunderstanding that he showcased, maybe unintentionally, and the misrepresentation of it that he broadcast. Again, maybe unintentional.
I have not seen the Dr. K stuff, but didn't he, like, push back on Dr. K as well?
Which
That's
has,
what I've heard,
in
at
turn,
least.
over the course of 10 months, misled people on what the fuck Stop Killing Games even is in the first place. Which I found to be a problem because he's never even acknowledged that as something that has happened. And because he refuses to acknowledge that, and anyone that even, like,
Who's Dr. K?
tiptoes around that subject, he
Wait, do you not... Wait, is that an actual serious question?
All right, Dr. K.
Do you actually not know who Dr. K is, or do you just not know he's called Dr. K? That's Ren asking on YouTube who Dr. K is. It's right there. Oh, yes, I know. Okay, you just didn't know the name Dr. K. Okay, fair enough.
Kind of treats as though they're fucking idiots, like me, for thinking that he's misrepresented something. Now, he did just post a tweet where he said he talked to me and Josh Strife Hayes, and in that tweet, this will prove how useless our conversation was, unfortunately, there's not a single peep about misrepresenting what Stop Killing Games was about. It's more so about how the public just doesn't understand game development.
Okay. I was thinking about this the other day, and like how many things that we've been through since it happened, which would have been entirely different, or could have been entirely different. Like, imagine if TV was still around, right? Like, when TV died, like that was the first celebrity, or whatever word you want to use, where I like genuinely felt something. And like, imagine how different this could have gone if TB was still around, and like how much he would have fought for Stop Killing Games. Like, he would have like brought Ross onto the podcast. He would have made like 20 videos about Stop Killing Games. He would have championed it for like months on end. Like, obviously you can't bring someone back, but like, I do think how different this would have been, especially being someone like from the UK. I don't know. And like, imagine how much like industry support. My stream cut out. TB. Total Biscuit. Like, just imagine how different this would have gone, and like how much industry support he had, and just like, yeah, there you go, man. Yeah, this guy. Yeah, I don't know, man. Again, like as I was saying, like that when he died, like that was one of the first people that I like genuinely felt something when they died. Anyway, now we have Pirate Software instead.
And it kind of reads to me like we're all just too stupid to understand it from his side of things. Our conversation basically amounted to toilet paper.
Sure.
Unfortunately. Again, I was focused on, you have done this, maybe unintentionally, you should at least say that you have, or
Isn't
like,
Pirate Software the
anti-TV?
Kind of
It
is.
became more of like, nope, I didn't. You're wrong. And then he uses our conversation
You didn't watch
at the
it,
start
really?
of this for something that was not even the focus. I was not there to try and convince him to be part of Stop Killing Games.
Sure.
I don't think we made any ground on like his perspective versus mine on Stop Killing Games. He has some qualms about how difficult it would be in certain cases. I agree with that, for sure. I still think overall Stop Killing Games is a net positive for the gaming industry where something desperately needs to change with a lot of these awful practices. But for the 10 millionth time in the last 2.5 hours, it was just about him having this awareness that his coverage did mislead people. And that he, maybe not maliciously or anything, misunderstood or misrepresented Stop Killing Games in numerous instances. And the way that he talked about Ross was unacceptable. That at least made it into the tweet there about the way he talked about Ross being like a fucking used car salesman type deal and like calling everything about it ass. He at least recognized that that was too harsh. So he gave a quick I'm sorry for that, which is good. I do appreciate that. And I'm sure Ross will appreciate that as well, I imagine. But I still wanted to make this video after the conversation because I just really do not understand. I truly cannot wrap my head around why he fights tooth and nail coming for throats for anyone that tries to mention that there was misrepresentation in his coverage of the Stop Killing.
I think... I don't know why he initially had the perspective, but I think now that he has it, I don't know. It feels like he's someone who doesn't have the ability to reconsider his perspective. It's like, I had this perspective, therefore I was right. And if I don't have this perspective, then that would mean I was wrong. And if I was wrong, that means that I said something that was incorrect. Therefore, I can never admit I was wrong. Ego obsessed with his image.
Games initiative. He is so hell-bent on proving he's right and everyone else is wrong that's saying these things. I just don't get it. He's just treating it like he's got the mega mind, once-in-a-generation galaxy brain that no one can possibly understand. All us plebeians are beneath him, and we're lucky that he even graces us with streams, and we're stupid for thinking that he did anything wrong here in regards to his coverage of Stop Killing Games and what it's actually about. It's just so odd to me. Because if he would just come out and be like, yeah, you know what? Looking back on it, really reflecting, hearing what you guys are saying, I can see why this was so misleading for so many people. I didn't mean for it to be, and yeah, maybe I misunderstood some of these things. This would not have been nearly as big of a deal as it has turned into. And I went back and looked at some of his previous dramas, I suppose, and that is a common thread with
Ashes of Creation, World of Warcraft, trashing on an indie game, I'm sure there's some other ones there.
Pirate software. Like in World of Warcraft, he made a mistake, but he completely refused to acknowledge the mistake, and it made it a much bigger snowball into an avalanche for him, which led to a ton of other problems. He just has this inability to, like, accept that he can make mistakes. Like, he...
Did he... I don't remember. Did he leave OnlyFans, or did Soda kick him? I don't remember. I don't... If anyone remembers the WoW situation, I don't remember which way it went. I feel like Soda kicked him, but I don't recall. Which indie game do you threaten? One that made a parody of him. You know about what people say about trashing indie games behind glass? Yeah. Well, yeah, that's why he got review bombed.
He does things wrong sometimes. And he needs to recognize that it's okay to be like, yeah, I did do that wrong.
OnlyFans sounds like a furry faction.
I was incorrect.
Well, it's run by Soda Poppin'.
And it would save so much of a headache. But he just comes across as a narcissist. He really does, unfortunately. Like, I'm not an armchair Reddit psychologist here going to diagnose him as a narcissist or anything, but, like, that's what it comes across as. He just refuses to admit that he ever does anything incorrectly. It admits no faults of his own, ever. Except, I suppose, to Ross here, which maybe this is the beginning of a big character development for Pirate Software. He did apologize to Ross for how he treated him and what he said about him. I think that's great. Would love to see that same kind of energy for understanding where people like myself are coming from with your coverage of Stop Killing Games and why people feel the way they do about what's happened since with your responses. But,
see, that's one thing I will say about Thor. It's kind of annoying how he acts because he does legitimately do good things. Like, the ferret work he does is legitimately good work. but like it's attached to someone who is just fucking obnoxious.
Anyway, I won't keep yapping about it. That's really about it. So yeah.
As always, that was a good, really good Charlie video. The whole stop killing games situation is a mess. It would be... Did he link... Yeah, he linked the initiative, this one as well. Let's see. We were at like 518 before. What is it at now? 519. I guess it's getting certainly some attention, right? How is he simultaneously so smart yet so stupid? I don't think he's dumb. I think he's just got a giant ego. Smile more in future videos. Yeah. Well, speaking of people who are not smiling, we have Mr. Linus Techius Tippiest.